Hello and welcome back to the 100 Day Art Challenge. This video is number 57 of 100 and I'm going to be doing a couple of landscapes for the next couple of videos, maybe even the next 3 depending on how you see it. But yeah, this one is basically, I was on a walk with a friend of mine, Petra. She's featured on the channel several times. Her and I were going to see some Arctic terns that have a habitat in Lower Gronant in North Wales. And it's a bit of a privilege to see terns because they're not that easy to see all over the world. There's only certain places where they have a habitat, and I think they're endangered as a species. So they're lovely creatures to see. And basically when we were walking there, it was a lovely day, and there were certain parts of this little stream that you walk through, or walk over I should say, over a bridge. And I took a couple of photographs, and this is one of the photographs that I took, was the reference for this painting. And because it was something which came together quite quick, I thought it would be interesting as a real-time video. A lot of the time I will make time-lapse videos and upload those. Some time lapses become what I call quickie videos, which just means that it's under 5 minutes, but most of the time it's between 5 and 8 minutes that the videos are for my video series for this challenge. And this one being 12 minutes, I thought it's not too unreasonable to upload as a real-time video. I think it's quite quick for a landscape sketch, and it could be developed into an actual landscape painting, albeit a very small one, but still it has its merits, I think, and quite interesting aspects. There's something about this landscape, because it is so reduced down to 3 elements, which is long grass, the stream and the sky. And those are the things which I am describing on the surface. But because there are only those 3 things, I am tasked with how to describe those, how literal I can be, and how experimental I can go. And there are certainly choices that I would make that I didn't at the time that I would make now. But there's also parts of this which I think work quite well, and I'm glad they are what they are. For one thing, the green which I mixed that's quite dark, that you can see for the majority of the painting, when I dipped my brush into linseed oil, just became this light yellowish green that you have there on the top. And I think that's really nice. I quite like the yellowish green. I think that works really well. And I'm glad that I didn't remix another green or add lots of yellow to achieve that. That just occurred in the moment, so I thought I'm just going to run with it and leave it as it is. But I need to show the depth of this grass because it is quite long. Now you can see the odd bristle come off my brush there. These aren't the most expensive brushes, but I'm trying to use different paintbrushes that I've had for a while and not used to see how well they work. And that's why some of these I'll discover that the bristles come loose, and I'll then know which ones are the better of the bunch. And I still have I still have lots of paintbrushes that I haven't tried yet, larger ones for larger canvases that I'm looking forward to using as soon as this challenge is complete. And we're not that far away. I mean, this is number 57, so we only have 43 to go, which is not that many really. And I have several other videos recorded and not edited yet, and I have certain other videos that are recorded and mostly edited and only need a few tweaks. So that's the process which I do for the video production, is I try to prepare as many as possible, because I've been making these submissions for the challenge for quite a while, that I'm now just ensuring that my YouTube channel is kept up to date. My Instagram is on pause for the time being. That's not been updated with the challenge, and I have a certain amount of submissions that haven't been updated into the folders for the YouTube videos as well. Not many, but there are some, and there are unfortunately a couple of submissions which I am determined to include as the submission, even though it wasn't filmed, it wasn't recorded, which is very unfortunate. And I try to record as often as possible, but sometimes I find myself drawing or painting and I haven't pressed record. There's been a couple of those already uploaded so far, and there will be a couple more still to come, but I will try to tell the story. I might even redraw the drawing just so that the video isn't a series of still images like a slideshow. I'd like it to be more tactile in the art making process. I really would like to show the materials being used in some similar way, even if it is mimicking what occurred at the time, and then I will show the finished result of the piece that wasn't filmed instead of the one which is being filmed, if that makes sense, because I'm trying to piece together the narrative. That's my solution that I'm thinking of. I'm sure that other YouTubers do the same thing and don't disclose that that's what they're doing, but for me that's a bit of a compromise for what I like to do normally, which is all of it is completely sincere, just like this video, with no edits at all and just straight through real-time painting, which all of my videos, or at least the large majority of this challenge, isn't edited. It's only made to be a time-lapse, which is an edit, but it's not a cut necessarily. And if there is a cut, it will only be to change the crop of the video so that it's closer, or so that it zooms in, or something like that. You know, that's the only edits that I try to make, so that I ensure that what you're watching is as genuine a process from start to finish as possible. Whether that's valuable or not, I'm not sure, but it's for me, to watch someone painting from start to finish like this video would be quite valuable. Especially when I started painting, I would have loved to watch someone painting and talking about what they're doing and why they're doing it. Speaking of which, now that I have created a coverage for the ground level, I'm now just ensuring that there is no white space left on the lower half of the picture plane, and then describing the grass with certain marks. I don't want the marks to be too uniform. That's something which is a decision you need to make. If you're going to do a painting which describes grass and you do lots of vertical lines, it may not look realistic, and that might be what you want. For me, I wanted it to look impressionistic, which means that it looks as though there's movement in the painting, and at a glance or from a distance it will look like a realistic painting, but when you look at it closely it won't. Impressionism to me is quite a nice, interesting way to approach painting, and it's a good compromise when it comes to painting fast, because you can do more expressive marks and not have to be too concerned with doing a very clean brushed in finish. Now for the sky I do go for just a blue colour, but then I make sure that it has a gradient in the sky, because the sky went from a deeper blue to a lighter blue as it went lower. In fact, it wasn't even that deep, so I'm pretty sure that what happens here is that I start to blend the blue and the white together to try and represent how the sky was blue, but it was a very light blue. It was a really warm day, but it wasn't a very deep blue sky. But it was a lovely warm day, and I do remember this visit, and I'm trying to ensure that the experience that I had that day is shown in the painting. And I think it doesn't need so much additional work. It just needs to make sure that the tones and the atmosphere is somewhat captured in the paint, in the colours and in the tonality, which means the light, the dark and the mid-tones. And already, as minimal as this seems to be, and you can see that it's not taken very long to get this far, it's already showing the landscape as I remember it. And it has this warmth to it, it has the depth of the grass, And using the linseed oil to lighten that green mix early on into that yellowy green in the distance, I think that does in fact show another summer heat, or at least a very late spring heat, which is what I'd like to do. And I'm using the blue from the sky in the water as well, because the water is going to reflect the sky colour, even though the grass, being that it's quite tall, gives the water a darker shadow. So the grass, you didn't see the reflection in the water in my reference, but it did make the blue of the water darker. But there we are. It's a quick oil sketch of the landscape that I experienced whilst walking with my friend to go and see the Arctic terns on the sand dunes in Lower Gronant. I think a couple of years ago now. It was a lovely day and I enjoyed making this painting. I think that oil sketches like this, if they could be kept simple and represent a clear memory and experience, then they have inherent value that way. It's something which you can inject into the piece in order to share what you saw and felt, and it's also quite nice, I think. But that's what I made, that's the piece, that's the painting. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.